Welcome to the bold analysis. The last time the President of Republic of Kenya made the address in State House about the state of the nation, he listed a raft of changes, including sizing down government, which was involving reducing the number of advisors, removing the confidential vote both in the office of the president, the deputy president, and other ministries, scrapping off the allocations in the ministries of in the offices of the first lady and the second lady and the spouse to the prime cabinet secretary Musalia Mudavadi. And there were more than 10 proposals that he laid bare and made directives, including banning of Harambes. But in that press, I remember, William Ruto promised the country that we should expect a reshuffle. We should expect changing of some other administrative some other changes in government, which would mean sizing down. And I think the Standard, The Nation Rhyme stories saying that there was a proposal to trim the cabinet slots from 22 to 15, and that will include some merger. But the mysterious development around it is even a week later, after that was promised, it has not been delivered. It has absolutely become very difficult for government to deliver. But then what we are being treated to is opening the Pandora box on what exactly William Ruto and the team are looking at behind the scene. Number one, Mount Kenya, there was a meeting between President Ruto and a host of Mount Kenya MPs, where the Mount Kenya MPs, some were actually told that the government is considering, that Kenya Kwanza is considering making a government of national unity, so that they can also include members of the other opposition side. And the people and the MPs were tasked with the responsibility of going back to try to market that idea, so that they can convince the members of the public, they can convince the constituents that there is every benefit, or rather every good reason, by making a government of national unity. So that development, or rather that voice of reason, emerged clearly. And today, there's some video clips I just want us to play here. These were MPs talking about this somewhere these were Kalenjin, some section of Kalenjin MPs talking somewhere.
Hakuna kabila moja ambaye inaweza kuongoza bila kila Mkenya yote. Sisi watu wa Kenya wote, uwe Mturkana, uwe mtu wa Coast, uwe mtu kutoka sehemu mbalimbali, tunataka Kenya moja. Na rais amesikiza. Na rais amesema tuje tuketi chini. Tuje tusemezane.
So mimi nakubaliana ya kwamba hata ikiwezekana we can even form a government of national unity, bora tukue na amani kwa Kenya yetu. Hakuna ubaya Raila Odinga akileta watu wake waingie serikali. Hakuna ubaya hawa jinsi pia wakichaguliwa hata wapate waziri waingie serikali. We have no problem with that.
Let us have a conversation that encompasses everybody else. Not just the political class, but also our youth and the major people who are facing this problem that we have.
Na kwa hivyo napongeza rais kwa kuleta baba, kwa kuleta president, kwa kuleta kina Kalonzo, kwa sababu hii ni swala nyeti kabisa kwa Wakenya wote. Kwa hivyo tutamuunga yeye 100% kwa huo mkakati.
Sisi tuketi, tuongee, na nataka nishukuru vijana wa Gen Z, hawa wamereawaken the conscience of this country. And we will support the young people to achieve. Kama ni ufisadi, tupambane naye. Kama ni ukosefu wa makazi, vijana wapewe kasi, ndio Kenya yetu iende mbele.
So this is what we are talking about. Now someone is thinking about a government of national unity. And while there is no tangible evidence on table, or rather move on table that you can say leading towards this, the events of the events of Tuesday, when Raila Odinga and President Ruto and the team were in KICC, was something that was very interesting. Raila Odinga met with the President Ruto in KICC for the signing of IEBC bill. And we understand that was there because that was a product of NADCO, and NADCO was birthed by both Raila and William Ruto. Much as people are saying, so Raila was right to be there because of it, but I think Kenyans already had discredited even the NADCO. So even an attempt by Raila to try to, to legitimize what NADCO was doing was actually a move in the wrong path, in the wrong direction. But that is not the gist of this analysis. And after that IBC, there was a meeting between Ruto and Raila team in a VIP section in KICC. And when they walked out of that meeting, a statement they gave at the floor of KICC is that Raila to push for dialogue, or Raila to endorse the dialogue that was supposed to start from Friday, that is supposed to start next week, Monday. A dialogue that has been rejected by the young people, professional bodies, and other stakeholders, because they are saying that the dialogue has never been a solution. And today, when Kalonzo Musyoka was speaking in, under the leadership of Wiper Party, he's laying it bare of their disappointment, and is saying that they will meet Raila so that they don't sanitize President Ruto.
And I'm sure that Honorable Raila Odinga himself will be willing to convene us so that we, because he's a party leader, can then clearly discuss with him. They are saying they don't need dialogue. There have been many dialogues so far. So, and really this dragging of feet, we don't want to be seen to be sanitizing a regime that has fallen flat on its own tummy. So we are not about to do that. And we are a democracy. And I'm happy that when he said demilitarize our streets, they moved the speed and removed them. So, in fact, I've had the general service people saying, thank the party leader, we have removed our boots, we are back to camp. Yes. So this is something. We need that spirit of freedom. But the thing that is very, very serious to us, apart from all these conversations the Secretary General Assembly read, is that yesterday I met with Mr. Okuya. Mr. Okuya is the president of the Kenya School of Law Students Association. He was abducted from his house in Ongata, Rongai, was taken round. Eventually, after 2 days, he was dumped near a river in Maragua in Murang'a. When I saw him yesterday, he was complaining of some stuff that was injected to his left arm. I think he has given a very detailed interview on his condition. We are recommending thorough medical examination, including blood tests and things, so we know. So this killer squad, this abduction squad must stop. Must stop. And this, of course, again, it goes back to the command structure of the police service, which has now become police force again. And the Constitution calls it a police service. So if you are serving in those special squads, my advice to you is disengage. Do not be used by your commanders to kill innocent young leaders like Mr. Okuya. One of our nominated MCAs from Makueni was similarly abducted by 2 Subarus and was to drive all the way to Kwale, drove the 2 nights in from Kwale to Taveta, back to Voi, and was dumped again back in Makindu. Abduction. We hope Mheshimiwa Abanas Wambua is safe. So these things must stop. Just like they stopped the militarization of our country. By the way, we need to make it clear that National Assembly hurriedly passed that legislation allowing CS Defense to call the military to the streets. That order is still in force. And I don't personally want to be called to any discussion unless our men are back in the barracks by removing that provision. I don't know when, Mheshimiwa Mboi, Deputy Minority Leader, when you are reconvening. But these are some of the shameful and unconstitutional acts that this regime has been involved in. So let them carry their own cross, and Kenyans will stand together. Kenyans will stand together. And nobody here is saying we want again to get into the space of the Gen Zs, but they are Kenyans, as the Secretary General said. And when they brought the goons to the streets, paid them in order to disrupt the peaceful demonstrations of the young Kenyans, they stand again. We stand in solidarity with the Gen Z. We are saying stop goonism, that spirit of goonism. These are very disciplined young professionals who know their rights under the law. And so goons should stay. And we see those goons, it's again the CS Interior and the police dictatorship that will be held to account, because they had to disrupt these peaceful young Kenyans and blame it on Gen Z, when it was them who planned to disrupt and even cause mayhem. And you saw the business community even trying to defend their own business premises. Not from Gen Zs, but the hired goons by this regime. Shame on you.
Enough.
Which has been seen as a call for a government of national unity.
We have no comments on such a thing.
Yes.
We don't know. We are not aware. We are not aware.
We're not part of it.
All right. We are not aware. All right. So for now, no comment. Oh, my friend. Maybe you. Maybe we'll put your name there.
We are not saying that we are with the Gen Z.
What Kenyans are saying is go home.
Yes.
Ruto must go.
The writings on the wall.
And of course, that was the speech by Kalonzo. Someone will argue that Kalonzo has to speak that way because Kalonzo is strategizing to be William Ruto's opponent. Which, even if so, there is absolutely no problem, because if anything, we need an opponent anyway. President Ruto also needs a worthy opponent. He's been saying it. But it's very clear that that position of that talk of national unity or some sort of a handshake government is not there. And even Raila, or Kalonzo has spoken about it, and even Raila today met some youth and said that watu wameniambia kwamba we don't want handshake. I will get some time and then analyze. Now, this talk is not sitting well with some fellows. Just listen to Mutahi Kahiga today. Was speaking in somewhere, I think in Nyeri, and this is what he's saying. This is what he's telling the president.
You made so many promises, they will not be achieved in this kind of atmosphere. The Gen Zs have made demands. You engaged with them. They told you what they wanted. None of their demands was for you to put up 150 team to negotiate I don't know what. They have clearly told you, we do not want you to do this, they want you to do this. It is that simple. If they say that you reorganize your cabinet, kindly do. If they say you sack it, do it. There are 50 million Kenyans who can fit in those offices. But if you continue that kind of talk, that kind of push, that kind of moving away from reality, it will hit us hard, and as a country, we will lose it all. You have a golden opportunity. This is a defining moment, Mr. President. Kindly think about this nation and do the very best you. And we have the Deputy President in the person of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, who was voted in on the 9th of August and went all through the processes to be declared a winner for the position of Deputy President. We are requesting the President to allow the Deputy President to be and to do what he was elected to do.
So this talk about the national unity is there. The national, a coalition government is there. Now, Raila, however, has been forced to make a U-turn, and despite of the person that was seen as floating, the person was seen that as supporting that dialogue, and Gen Z had rejected, I still don't understand how he fell for that trap. I think, yeah, there are some miscalculations, and we've always been pointing out that the oligarchs around Raila Odinga sometimes are just pursuing some self-interest. Yesterday, after that, I personally, I said, I am not buying this story of people saying that, look here, Raila fought for NADCO, so he has to be there. Raila has been fighting for democracy, this is it. But Raila also could not just be making the same mistake and we glorify the mistake. He's been making that mistake and we glorify the mistake. For example, last year, people didn't want to hear of talking. In fact, you can finish protests. There is no template. There is no global template that whenever people protest, then it must end up in some sort of a table. Because when you stop protesting and then go to talk in a table and people don't get a feedback, the understanding is clear that you have been trapped and you have betrayed the people. And you will then need to take some time to shed off, to shred that narrative that you have betrayed the people. A good example is NADCO. People went to the street over the cost of living. This time around they were about the taxes. And even last time it was about the tax hikes that had the cost of living. And then when you went to that table, the people first said, no, we don't want those talks. Just finish the talks, Baba, just leave the talks. But when you went to the table, after all the glamorous press briefings and high profile, Obasanjo being brought in the mix to try to show that there is some legitimacy in these talks, then Kenya Kwanza goes there and says, we are not going to talk about that cost of living because it is a role of the national government and the opposition is not going to guide us around it. And they never changed their position. So I can always say, out of NADCO, Azimio came out of NADCO with a shell. They didn't come out with very significant policy flexes. Because what the public were demanding is push Ruto to flex the policies kidogo. Because the problem here is these policies are punitive to the people. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to confront this and I want to explain to you why Ruto is floating this national government, a government of national unity, a coalition government. In fact, I need to say it first. There will be nothing like a coalition government. That is a language that is being said because people know that between 2008 and 2012, there was a coalition government between Ruto and Raila. But probably, one thing I do know here is the Gen Z protest and the Raila axis, like what happened last year, is telling President Ruto that he's facing legitimacy challenges. He's facing very serious legitimacy challenges. So part of that national coalition thing will be some issues on just boosting legitimacy. But before I even explain why Ruto is rooting for it, I need to debunk and explain here that there will be nothing like a government of national unity. It even brought problem between Raila and Kibaki. The government Ruto was given mandate and has the sword and all that. Any other person that will come will be created some position, this cabinet, I don't know, prime minister, all those things are just to try to create an image. The real objective, the devil is in the details. And I want to tell you, number one, that national unity aspect, narrative, Ruto is just trying to navigate a cabinet reshuffle. If you've been following my podcast, I insisted that there are so many factors on table that is giving Ruto headache on even how to reshuffle cabinet, leave alone even the incising. There are so many angles. Paths to Ruto's cabinet are very different. Unlike Uhuru Kenyatta between in 2013 or 2018, William Ruto has people that are in cabinet because they carry the secrets of the elections. There are people who are in cabinet because they funded the campaigns. There are people who are in cabinet because there was earthquake between, Kalonzo, between Mudavadi, Wetangula coming together. There are people that are in that government for different specific reasons. In fact, the reason why Kenya Kwanza cannot hold strong is because of those, small bits. It's not a house built on one thing that people came on. For example, there are some people that are there simply because of how best they could insult Uhuru Kenyatta. And how they had to move from ODM and come to join UDA. So, he's navigating a cabinet reshuffle, and he understands that if he does, he's just trying to find a cover-up for a cabinet reshuffle. And I wish Raila and the team do not fall into this. That Raila to give in some names and Gen Z to give it some names for cabinet. Forget about that, because those who will walk out of government, those who will be kicked out of government, will run the narrative in their backyard that it is Raila that has chased them. And so it was Raila who was pushing the Gen Zs. And so Raila Odinga should not allow, I still insist, and I stand with Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila should not sanitize William Ruto. William Ruto has many problems and is not going to solve them overnight. And at least, just like the cost of living, they said they will solve themselves, they should be left to solve it. It is just a way of finding some smoke screen to explain to those cabinet members if there is going to be a reshuffle. Because he knows very well the incompetent cabinet members, that those are corrupt, that those who are already soiled, that those that have, quite there is no members of cabinet that are not a very clean slate. Just the other day we were being told about, there was a report about Hustler Fund. There was a report about the scandal on fertilizer that was supplied in form of stones. So, that is the first reason why someone is talking about that national government of national unity. The second thing, there is Mount Kenya power sharing setup. The biggest problem is Mount Kenya power sharing. Because remember, Rigathi Gachagua have been saying, and rightfully so, I try to refrain from Rigathi said. I also try to endorse what Rigathi is saying. It's true, 3 million of Ruto votes came from Mount Kenya. So just like it has been customary for every regime, the Mount Kenya deserves the biggest share of that government. Not everything, but they deserves the biggest share according to what was in a power sharing deal. So he understands that another aspect on table is tearing that power sharing deal. And to tear that power sharing deal, they will now try to say, we are trying to form unity against one. And that brings me to my point number 3, that Ruto is just plotting a 2027 political narrative. Let me ask you, if Raila and Azimio present some 3 or 4 names there, and maybe some Gen Z also allowed to put some names there, what will be it? There will be some dummy, there will be some fake national unity as people try, because they know very well that if we form this, the people that will be kicked out, those who are kicked out, will probably form something and also form an opposition and try to seize power. So someone will pick that, the 2027 political narrative about it. And another threat to Raila, I can tell you, if they form that government with Raila, after 1 year, they say, even Raila's people that have brought here, they have not delivered. They can be soiled. The government has the machinations, can use the machinations to soil the reputations of those opposition figures that have been brought in government. Then from there say that Raila is the person that spoiled our government. On that point, Ruto reunites with Rigathi and then starts the exactly 2022 campaigns to hit any other opponent. Because I can tell you, the 2027 script for William Ruto is still a Kalenjin Kikuyu vote basket, then patch up with other areas. It's simply, there is no magic away from that. That is what even the Kenya Kwanza team are navigating around. Number 3, or then lastly, this trap is just to co-opt some Gen Zs so that they can water down the protest that is going on. All in all, I don't support it, and I believe that what Kalonzo is saying, we should pay attention to what Kalonzo is saying. Thank you.